Hello everyone and welcome to the study series on Fratelli Tutti. I am Sister Maria Antonetta Pereira from India, belonging to the congregation of the Franciscan Missionaries of Mary. I am grateful to Father Eric for giving me this opportunity to be part of this study series on this encyclical of our Holy Father. I have been a student of LST and obtained a licentiate in systematic theology in 2015. And ever since, I have been involved in the formation of junior FMM sisters in India and also in teaching theology. So this opportunity to share with you my reflections on chapter 6, that is dialogue and social friendship in society. I am happy to do it. Why Fratelli Tutti? Pope Francis, reflecting on the current situation of the world, especially plagued by individualism and violence, comes up with a sure solution in the form of his third encyclical, the Fratelli Tutti. And today we are going to reflect on the sixth chapter, that is on dialogue and social friendship. Do you think people can live alone, isolated, just lonely beings? Maybe they can live, but I don't think they can progress or they can attain their full potential for what they be, just being isolated and living alone. To do so, we need each other. We need community. We need to express love and to feel that love. And Pope Francis says that dialogue and social friendship is an important means to attain this, to attain what he calls as universal fraternal love and to build together one single human family. What does Pope Francis actually mean when he says dialogue? He says dialogue is the in-between path between violent protest and selfish indifferences. Between these two extremes, dialogue becomes the in-between path. And he goes on further to underscore what it takes for a genuine dialogue. We can call it the principles of dialogue. He says, approaching, speaking, listening, looking at, or coming to know one another and finding a common ground are the principles or the basis of genuine dialogue. When dialogue is carried out in this way, with this as the basis of dialogue, we come to a stage where we can build a culture of dialogue, where dialogue becomes our way of life. And according to the culture of dialogue, each one of us, the partners in dialogue, can learn from one another, where no one is useless, where no one is left out, no one is inexpendable. Each one is important and have a role to play. Now from experience, we know that when we are in our relationships, in our neighborhoods, in our families, on a smaller scale, when we practice this form of dialogue, we are able to undo some misunderstandings and bridge the gap and bring things together. On a larger scale, in the countries, between nations, when dialogue is practiced in this way, where life becomes a culture of dialogue, we are able to bridge the gap between me and them, we and they, ours and theirs, we are able not to perceive the other as an enemy. The other doesn't become an enemy, rather the other becomes a friend, a neighbor, just as it is explained in chapter 2, giving the example of the Good Samaritan. And our Asian culture, which is a boiling pot of diversities. My Indian culture is the same. We have varieties of cultures, of traditions, of religions, of languages, of ethnicities, and where there are a variety, where there are differences, conflicts and tensions are inevitable. In such situations, Pope Francis suggests that dialogue is the key to peaceful coexistence. The Federation of the Asian Bishops' Conferences, that is the FABC, way back has given us a key or a tool for our peaceful existence where diversities exist together. They say triple dialogue is the key to peaceful existence. What is this triple dialogue? Dialogue with the cultures of Asia, dialogue with the religions of Asia, and dialogue with the poor of Asia. These three would embody everything, and then we will be able to live in peaceful coexistence. Now, Pope Francis says a pluralist society, that is a society with a lot of diversity, that encourages such dialogue, is also able to respect the dignity of others in all circumstances. It is able to recognize the rights of everyone to be themselves, especially the rights of indigenous persons. And thirdly, it is able to integrate differences. Differences doesn't become a ground for division. Rather, differences becomes a means to appreciate the uniqueness and accept and celebrate that uniqueness. It's beautifully said and beautiful to listen to. And it gives us a good feeling when we speak that dialogue can bring about unity. But this is difficult to practice, and we know from experience that bilateral dialogues between nations, trilateral dialogue between nations have not always been successful. Why? There are actions and attitudes that block or hinder genuine dialogue. And Pope Francis names 3 such attitudes and actions. He says the first one is aggression. Aggression in all forms, like especially that is manifested these days on social media. Or secondly, he says monologues. Monologues that we see on some TV channels, especially in the name of debate, the powerful voice tries to put down or suppress the voice of truth. And thirdly, a quick and humiliating discrediting of the others. Discrediting the others, disregarding the others. When dialogue is lived in such a way, how can dialogue be fruitful? So to enter into dialogue, one needs to first of all check the intentions, the interest which one holds on to, and if necessary, make a positive change or what we can call as the shifts in our understanding, mental shifts. First of all, recognize the mental blocks and make shifts. Let me give you an example from my own experience. I was born and brought up in an Indian state of Goa, which was colonized by the Portuguese from 1510 to 1961. So 451 years of colonization and also living in coexistence of both a Western culture and an Asian tradition. So I grew up with this mixture. I learned about diversity back in school, but diversity became real for me only when I entered the FMM congregation. FMM is an international congregation spread all over India, having sisters from all states, all cultures, all language groups, and even from the church traditions. So, for me, it was a cultural shock, or I was in for a great shock to know that the diversity is this and not what I have read in my school days. So understanding that diversity and meeting people and to be able to minister to people and to be able to live harmoniously in community, I had to recognize my mental blocks and make shifts. Pope Francis also makes a mention of these 3 shifts that we have to make in order to enter into a genuine dialogue. It would be nice for us also to take a note of these shifts. What are they? It is accepted that I don't possess the whole truth. And while I have the freedom to freedom of expression and freedom to hold on to my truth, I have to also accept that others also have the same freedom to hold on to their truth and to express their truth. Secondly, my concepts of progress, my concepts of liberty may not be the same for everyone, especially for indigenous persons. And thirdly, as I expect others to consider, to respect my point of view, I have to also respect their point of view. So each one of us is called to recognize what blocks us from genuine dialogue and to make these mental shifts in order to enter into genuine dialogue and build social friendships in society to live a harmonious life. But Pope Francis also ends with a note or a call for creating a culture of kindness. He says, when we live in a culture of kindness, we become shining stars in the midst of the darkness of individualism. Kindness helps us to change or transform lifestyles and relationships. Very true. Kindness also helps us to break the walls of hostility and conflict. And finally, kindness helps us to build bridges and make new pathways to facilitate consensus. With this hope and a prayer, Pope Francis ends his chapter on dialogue and social friendship. So, with my example and with my reflections, I too end here with a hope and a prayer that our seraphic Father, Saint Francis, may help us to live in genuine dialogue and enter into genuine relationships. Praying that all of us may live as brothers and sisters all. Shalom. Thank you.